Red Bull are hiding a bit of that Red Bull power, getting a bit of them wings on the go.
Definitely, everyone's hiding juice.
Has Red Bull got more wings, Ronan? Welcome back to your one-stop pit stop podcast with your host, Umps and Dumps, as we take you on the 2022 season of F1, the triumphs, the tribulations, and everything in between. Would you like to say hello, Dumps?
Yeah, hello everyone. How's it going?
Right, where better to start than the last 3 days, essentially, the shakedown in the beautiful Barcelona. What do you have? What comments do you have for us?
Yeah, considering the tests were behind closed doors, there's been a lot of info. There's been a lot of images and videos that have been shared after the tests, and the cars are looking good out on track. But they're starting to notice some issues that the ground effect is bringing.
Yeah, it's not. It's going back to that. It was meant to be a closed shakedown essentially, but it's been very, very opened by the media. We've had a lot of coverage on this event. We haven't had anything live, but in terms of imagery, video analysis, and just to get a sense of what is likely to happen in this upcoming season, there's been a lot of there hasn't been a lot of hiding it. Essentially, it's been pretty open. So I was a bit stumped to see that, because it was glossed up as this hidden or behind closed doors event, but it never seemed to happen like that.
I think it's just been more of we can't show it live just in case that unforeseeable happens. Like, I don't know, one of the major big league teams, couldn't start a car, for example, or they have catastrophic engine failure on the first lap, and they didn't want to broadcast that live. So I'm guessing
you see everyone
just put the highlights of each day when they've actually got around the circuit.
Everyone taking their Ferraris back to the dealership saying this car don't work. I don't want to get into it. But yeah, it's been very open, which is good as a fan, really, to see this, because we're invested into this now. Essentially, for us, the season has started. I know it officially starts in a few days' time in Bahrain, but for us as fans, it has started. We have seen the dawn of the new age, essentially.
Yeah, a lot of cars are looking good out on track, and it'd be nice to see a live testing session in Bahrain, because obviously different circuit, different climatic conditions, and yeah, we'll see how the cars perform on a higher speed track. Yes,
because the cars are different, don't they? Well, I touched upon a few statistics before coming into this, and it's fit. They are, from last year, they are 50 kilos heavier on average, 50 kilos heavier than last year, and everybody knows a little bit of Christmas timber and you're struggling. so when I heard that, because I've lost a bit of more than 50 kilos and I can run a bit quicker, so I'm surprised that they're able to perform just as well as they have done, really. Because before, when they put these plans into practice, when they proposed these plans, then it wasn't last year, it was pre-COVID. They were expecting the cars to be 3.5 seconds slower. Yeah. But actually seeing them this weekend, they're actually able to compete with the speed of last year's cars and provide better racing in that capacity as well. So it's shaping up to be an absolute great season, to be honest. And I just want to get going.
Yeah, it's
well, we'll go through the what each sort of team did on the day, or at least the good teams anyway, because some of them had very disappointing runs, but we won't mention we won't we won't go through the bad times. Let's just gloss up the good times at the minute. So I think we'll start with Mercedes, is it? Constructors champions of last season. And how would you sum up their 3-day shakedown performance then?
Okay, so typically Mercedes never do like well in preseason testing. They're always okay, mid-table, setting a decent time, and they always come out punching at the start of the season. However, this season, at the start, they're at the top already, and like George set a quickest time, and then Lewis beat him to finish off this 3-day shakedown with a low 119 time. So it'd be interesting to see what they can do in the season.
Yes, definitely. For me, I feel like it was disappointing for them. I don't know. They just never set the 3 days alight like the team of Ferrari, or it was like they're teasing the fans. They're not showing any of their eggs at this minute, and maybe that is
why would you?
Maybe that is good strategy, but that's what these 3 days are about, is to understand your car. But saying that, the Mercedes car does look like a Mercedes car. They have stayed basically within their box, haven't they?
Yeah, it looks great back in silver, I must say. And I'm hoping that the likes of Ferrari and Red Bull are equally as good.
Well, saying that, going on to Red Bull, Max actually set a very competitive time compared to Mercedes, and he was actually on the C5 tires, which is a slower tire. What do you think of that then? Do you think Red Bull are hiding a bit of that Red Bull power, getting a bit of them wings on the go?
Definitely, everyone's hiding juice.
Has Red Bull got more wings, Rhoda?
Everyone's got more beans in reserve. Like, nobody's shown true pace yet. There's hundreds of upgrades and developments that's coming, and nobody's gone full Rambo yet.
Yes, yeah. For me, it's the Red Bull. It has the best bits of each car, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So if you compare the car that they tested in Barcelona compared to the car they launched, two very different looking cars.
Yeah, even Stevie Wonder could tell the difference between them.
It's almost like they were like, yeah, we'll launch our car first and then copy every other fucker that launches after.
Yeah, basically. Copy and paste, Control Alt. What's that? Control C, Control V. That's Red Bull. Copy and paste. It's like my GCSEs. Copy and paste. Oh, what a dodgy bloke. All right. So should we go on to probably the team that set the 3 days alight, really, and I'm becoming a bit of a fan. Ferrari, and then the side
your donut.
My donut, donuts. And they clocked in something like 439 laps. Jesus Christ! I've seen the petrol prices. I can't be affording that. What are they thinking?
Yeah.
Is it because they do not understand their car, or they're confident in the car? Why would they need to do so much?
No, I think they've had so much time to develop this car, like theoretically, with the simulator design, etc. But now that they've actually built it and it's out on the road, and they're just trying to see what it can do. The side pods are working really well. It's forcing that rear of the car into the tarmac of the circuit, and it's just it's holding up really well, but it looks horrendous.
They do look like a very strong team this year, and another team that's coming up the table, well, potentially, is McLaren, and they're looking very competitive. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, McLaren are looking strong. Not quite as strong as Ferrari, I don't think, but I hopefully we'll see them at the top of the table this season, fighting in the top 3 teams.
Oh, top 3, top 4, definitely. Do you see them nicking any Grand Prix or any championships away from any of the other teams, or are they just sort of top 4 and that's a successful season for them?
Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to be better. I mean, but like, it's a long season. You can't say that they won't win. There's loads of opportunities, and if they're in the right place at the right time, anyone can win.
Yeah, I suppose there's too many variables to say at this moment. Should we run through quickly the other teams?
Yeah,
Should we start with Haas? Haas.
Yeah, it was a very disappointing shakedown, wasn't it?
To be fair, I did see a video of didn't he spin out? That was their quickest lap, wasn't it?
What, Mazda spin?
Yeah, right. That's their highlights anyway.
No, the biggest highlight of Haas was taking the Russian sponsor off the car and the sticker off the car. That's the only publicity I've seen of
the problem
Haas.
they got with Haas is that their car colors actually represent the colors of the
Russian flag.
Yeah. So unless we bin the Russian, get rid of it. Let's just not have it. We don't need it. What about we'll skip past them. They're not. Let's be honest. We know where they're ending up this season, are we?
Yeah.
Right. Aston Martin. What are we thinking about them? Because Sebastian Vettel, I'm sure he put in a very competitive time. I know a lot of beans have yet to be stirred or brewed, let's say, but they did put in a very competitive time compared to the big boys, let's say. So what's your thoughts on them? Was it sort of a bit early to judge?
Yeah, I haven't gone into much detail looking into their car, but I mean they could be fighting for the top of the best of the rest.
Yeah, I think they're definitely gone under the radar with most teams.
They're like the underdog. I reckon they'll struggle to beat McLaren this season. Yeah,
so we go Alfa Romeo. What are we thinking about that? Because when they relaunched that camo shaped color design, that gray and white, a lot of people didn't like it, but I loved it. I really liked it. What?
I think that's just to hide the bodywork.
It is.
They have released an actual livery afterwards,
but it's red and white.
Yeah, it's no different to previous years.
No, let's bring back the camo. That's what I'm saying. I actually like the camo. Bring it back.
You won't be able to see the car on track.
Don't worry about that. And then Williams. It was just a meh. It wasn't anything to it, was it?
Yeah, I think they've still got a lot of development to do. I mean, all the teams will constantly be developing. So
yeah, and I suppose we haven't got much more to say about that 3-day roundup. Oh, we could mention the porpoising. So this is essentially when the downforce of the car hits the bump or of the track, and it causes the car to shake. Really,
the bounce.
Yeah,
the bounce effect. Yes,
it is the bounce effect. And I'll be honest, if I was in that car, I'd be having seasick. I'd be blowing everywhere. I don't know how the drivers are coping, especially the Ferrari team. They've formed laps. What are they doing? Must be on the medicine.
No, maybe they found a way to keep the car sucked to the tarmac, but not so much that it starts this bouncing effect. Maybe they've managed to discard the air or the vacuum enough to reduce that effect.
Well, luckily enough for you, I've done my research, Ronan. Do you know what they had to do?
Here we go.
They had to cut holes in the floor of the car. They cut holes in the floor of the car. How do you feel about that?
If it works, isn't it?
I want my floor to be there. You know what I mean? I don't want a floor, like a concrete floor scraping next to my bum or anything. I want a floor. But yeah, apparently the Ferrari team had to, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of innovation going in for the next few weeks to get a permanent solution to this. But yeah, that is one of the solutions. That is one of the solutions that they did. They cut holes within the bottom of the car to keep it sucked to the floor. Yeah. So well, the problem is that, was it possible to see this coming from the teams? You know, they have so much wind tunnel time. Is it, or is this something that none of them would have factored in? Because the last time porpoising or ground effect cars were in action, it was in 1970s.
The 90s, yeah.
1970, the late 1970s. So it's a while ago, you know what I mean? My mama was thinking about no kids back then. We went in
maybe
action.
Some of the like. Oh my god. Maybe some of like the old and bold in Formula One had seen this being an issue, because it was an issue back in the 90s. But back then, some engineering genius come up with the invention of side skirts, which then created ground effect, and that reduced the bouncing effect, because it was a sealed vacuum on the tarmac. It was literally skirting along the track.
I'm sure there was another I think it was a Renault car in the 80s that they had this mechanism on the front that sort of, it did something to the nose of the car which caused it to stop rocking, and they were looking to it's one of the options that it was deemed as an illegal I don't know, what would it be? It was deemed illegal, but essentially they won the championships with this mechanism that sort of caused at the front. It was at the front of the
I mean, if you look back at the history of Formula One, all championships are won by some sort of grey space in the regulations. I mean, like Red Bull with the double diffuser at the back of the Red Bull when they won their four-time world champion.
Yes. I suppose it's how you interpretate the laws, really, and because I'm sure Mercedes had a mechanism where they pulled the steering and the wheels turned in. Yeah,
the DAS system.
But that wasn't allowed to happen. But so we're going into the next week. I think it's about 6 days off at time of recording. We go into the sunny Bahrain. What we expecting from that? What we expecting from Bahrain?
A lot more bounce in the cars.
I dare to be the bloke on the camera. I said to boom, 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 boom.
It's a higher speed track, so probably a lot more bouncing. So you'll see a lot more people drilling holes in the floor.
Oh, boys, get the gum shields on the go. Get gnashing on the gum shields. No food before 2 hours pre-rest. I suppose it's going to be sunnier, so we'll have more of a representation of how the sun will have on the car as well. Because it's 50 kilos heavier, the car will be warmer for the drivers.
Yeah,
it will conduct more heat.
The track temperature is going to be. The track temperature will be hotter. The tires will get more stickier, and hopefully can go quicker.
Yeah,
that's my theory. That's my logic. That's where I want to happen.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes, but nevertheless, catch us here on the One Stop Pit Stop podcast. I will always giggle after that. I'm not gonna lie. But
With umps and dumps.
with umps and dumps. Right. So going in, well, should we cover the this thing that's happening with Russia and what they've decided to, well, basically to invade Ukraine? And well, F1 and the FIA have had a lot of thinking to do, really. And what's your thought on the whole situation then? What's your thought?
So this is a really tough situation. Obviously, what's happening in the world
It isn't great, is it?
No, it shouldn't reflect motorsport, I don't think.
Oh, so you're on the on sort of the, not the Russian side, but on the sport, on the side of politics and sports shouldn't meet.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Formula One. I think it should be, if you're good enough to get there, then you should stay there and race, you know.
Well, I'll read you a few things. So the FIA are allowing Russian drivers to drive under a neutral flag. That was agreed. Yeah. But the British Motorsport have banned all Russian drivers. But
they won't race in Silverstone?
No, they will not be allowed to race in Silverstone. But now, this now, as a Russian driver, so we have one in Mazepin.
Yeah,
he's a Russian driver. Would he then struggle to get visas into every European country needed to race?
I have no idea. Ask his PA.
Because
I bet you he or she is fucking busy.
Because he's very busy, let's be honest. Because yeah, it's not not great. Because if it was me, I'd boot him out, get rid of a bloke. Dodgy, all the Russians are all dodgy, innit? Because the F1 did actually pull the plug on the Russian GP. That is no longer a thing. The contract is gone.
Yeah, they cancelled the race. They cancelled the contract. They're well within their right to. I mean, it's not safe to go racing in Russia. I mean, all of last season, we had the we stand as one message as Formula One, and to go to Russia, I think, and hold a Grand Prix with all that's happened would be wrong. So I think Formula One are erring on the side of caution.
So what's likely to happen? Are we just gonna avoid the Russian GP, or are we looking to bring a new event?
Ooh, I don't think they'll put a new event in, because there's already 23 races this season. So
get a 24th in?
No, I think they'll just drop down to 22 and keep it as that, and just have a weekend break.
Yeah, maybe that's probably the sensible option, considering the logistics, because if they're that side of the country, there would have been a rush. They would have had 2 weeks off to go anywhere else, maybe. But they would have had some time off, because Russia's massive. But actually, looking here, and I don't quote me on this, let me just double check that this is correct, because we may have, Ronan, some breaking news.
Oh,
breaking news! I've just okay. I'm gonna. This is by the Express and the Sun. I'm gonna read it. What it says. Okay, and it was 3 hours ago. This was reported. Right, let me accept.
You're late.
Yeah, I'm slightly late. All right.
So it's not breaking news. It's history.
No, breaking news. This is my journalism, top notch here. All right. Out on his Haas, Nikita Mazepin sacked by Haas after Russian F1 driver was banned from racing in British GP. Get him! out here. What are we thinking about that? If that is correct, which is reported by the Sun, and
okay, so I think that has been a long time coming. He didn't have a great debut in Formula One. He didn't perform really, and now that this whole
are they looking for an
situation? Excuse? I think so. It's given them a foot in the door to watch him leave.
So if he has gone, and this is just a report from the Express and the Sun, if he has gone, what drivers could possibly replace him?
The reserve driver.
Because looking at it, right, what characteristics do they need? They need to be able to use the whole track, the gravel on the side. They
need to be able to point in the wrong direction out of every corner.
They need to be able to know where the gravel is, know where the tires are, and turn it on a 5p piece. Oh, what a fantastic! He'll go down in the record books, that boy. Mark my words.
The most amount of donuts in a race.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, looking at this report, it does say that I butcher these names. Pietro Fittipaldi is set to replace him.
Ooh, okay.
I don't know nothing about him. I've never heard of him. The other bloke was terrible. This one can't do much worse. And that's the way I see it.
Yes.
Maybe it was the logistic reason why they are binning him off. But a lot of sports have done it. A lot of sports like FIFA have cancelled their ties with the Russian Federation. Adidas have cut ties with Russian athletes. So it's not just a one collective.
Yeah, with current affairs, I think people erring on the side of caution. They don't want to associate themselves with what's happening politically in the world.
Yeah, I think it makes sense from a business standpoint that this does happen. But it's a shame that it is happening, to be honest. But there's nothing we can do per se to stop the nutter pressing the button. But going on to other breaking news. I say breaking. It was 2 days ago. Breaking news for me.
Okay. Breaking news. History, more like.
Breaking history. Max Verstappen signs a new contract. What's your thoughts?
RedBull had to keep him, didn't they? To be honest, I'm not sure who else would have him. Because I can't imagine he'd drive a Ferrari and a Mercedes. I don't think they'd want him in the seat with Lewis, and I'd prefer to have a British driver.
I always thought that he would be replacing Lewis, because Lewis is on his last few years, and everybody knows it.
Yeah,
I always thought that Max would replace Lewis in the seat. That was always the progression that I seen. But now seeing this contract being signed, and not only that, it's been signed at 40 million per season, and it's
only, isn't it? Jesus,
it's got a 6-year contract extension. 6 times, what's that? That's like 280 million. What's he gonna do? What would you do with 280 million?
Get a house in Monaco and have a tax haven.
Yeah, he's already done that. He's already done that.
Yeah, it's not his first season in Formula One, is it?
No, definitely. But yeah, is this a good move by RedBull?
By RedBull, yes. Yeah, I think so. You got to keep your star driver in the car for as long as you can. But if Lewis did leave, I'd like to see Lando in the car with George Russell.
That's very interesting. It could be two British drivers heading up the Mercedes lineup. And do you reckon Mercedes will always stay British? That's another. No, they just want the best drivers.
Why would they?
That's fair. But yeah, I think ultimately it is a good move by Red Bull and Max, to be honest, because he now has a seat secure for the next 6 years in Formula One, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah.
And whether we like it or not, to be honest, he is currently the world champion. So
to speak.
So he is the best in the world at what he does. Technically, whether you like it or not, he is the best in the world.
Yeah, agreed, yeah.
There's nothing anyone could say about that. But 40 million a year, it equals Lewis Hamilton's price, wages, let's say. And it doesn't account for the team's spending in their overall rankings. So yeah, it's good in that sense. But we'll have to see how it goes, because for me the Formula One landscape changes so quick that a lot can happen in 6 years.
Yeah.
And for me, Max feels like a very, very not hot-headed individual, but a hot-headed individual, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yes, and if he doesn't like something, he will say it, and he will go. And
there is no filter.
No, he will just walk. I just feel like he will walk on the contract, or there will be a bad blood ending. I don't see this Don't see this ending in fairy tales or romances. I don't know.
No,
I think there'll be.
He's
a lot of words.
He's a very fiery character, like Michael Schumacher was back in the day. So
I suppose that does suit the brand of Red Bull as well. They are seen as an extreme sporting brand. So so aligning a athlete like that with their car really makes sense. So do you know, we made a prediction on the constructors and the constructors and the drivers championship.
I'm sticking.
And you are sticking with what you said, which was Ferrari to win the constructors and a Lewis to win the drivers.
Yeah.
I see it. I'm going to stay the same. But if I were to sway,
you can't. You can't.
I'm not. I said
you just
if.
Can't.
I said if.
If you were on 40 million, you could say if.
No.
But you're not.
The only thing that would change my mind is the season, is the testing next week when we actually see the cars. Because at the minute, Ferrari has shown enough to stay as my prediction for the constructors, and Lewis will always be up there with.
Okay, shall we revisit this next week after the official testing in Bahrain?
Yes, we will.
We'll lock it in for the season.
We will lock it in, and I'll put £1. Where's your pit stop £1 going? A £1 pit stop pound going.
The one stop pound pit stop podcast.
And we'll put £1 on. We'll see where it goes. And what's the chances we'll lose £1?
Yeah, and we'll claim it back.
Claim it back.
So please put your sponsor here so we can fund our pound.
Pit stop pound. And I think in terms of the world of motorsport, we have covered everything there. I don't think there's anything outstanding that I'm
no, I don't think so.
Unaware of. So like, share, subscribe, follow Umps and Dumps. The One Stop Pit Stop podcast, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.